order. Please rise and face the flag for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I didn't have any community members sign up to comment. So would someone like to take action on the consent agenda?
I move to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Second.
Is there a second?
Second.
There's a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried. And that includes a generous donation of $1,000 from Steve Tebon to the Hall of Fame Activity Fund. And Mark Moore resigns as varsity assistant softball coach. Then we'll go into some reports that I should know what BOT is, but bot competition.
All right.
I think I know what it is, but I don't know what those letters stand for.
Well, it doesn't. That actually doesn't stand for anything. That was. But this is Bots IQ is kind of what this is about, I guess. So you just want to make you aware of this thing that I've been working on, and it kind of. We've been working with the kit robots for a few years, but we also been working with the industrial FANUC robot for a few years. And we've been working towards trying to do some combat robotics because the kids really want to do something like that usually. And there has been at least a couple of different places where we could have done combat robotics in the past. One of them is this place where they had a competition in Waukesha. And we were set to go to this competition a couple of years ago. We had this bot built, but for a couple of reasons we didn't actually end up competing, even though we did submit our engineering plan and we got like first place on the engineering plan. But one of the problems with this robot is just way overweight. So we're way overweight. It can only be 15 pounds. So we kind of struggled a little bit. So we didn't actually compete with that robot. But so then the next year we're gonna for sure make it. And then the Bots IQ people sent out an email saying that they were not gonna do the competition anymore in Waukesha. And so there wasn't gonna be no 2025 competition.
Excuse me, what's BOT stand for?
What's that?
Does BOT stand?
BOT doesn't stand for anything. That's just for the agenda. This is Bots IQ, so I know that's just what they call the thing. So anyway, let's see. Yeah. So they weren't going to do it in 2025. So personally, we were kind of a little disappointed because we've been kind of working towards this for a while. We, bought some motors and wheels and other components and controllers and other things. So we could actually do the combat robots, and now they're basically saying they're not going to do the combat robots anymore. So I was thinking, how can we still do combat robots? So I was thinking about one of the most important things is like an arena, like that one. You see that arena there? So that you can actually fight robots without anyone getting hurt. So this robot arena is actually a part of the Bots IQ, and this is the one that they used in Waukesha for their competitions, and they've also taken it to Peshtigo and used it there at some of their robot rodeo competitions over there when they did combat robots. So anyway, so they didn't want to do it anymore. I wanted to keep doing it, so I was trying to figure out how we could build an arena. And so I did contact the Bots IQ people to see if they had any blueprints or any ideas where I could look to get some plans for building an arena. And I had been trying to, so I wasn't thinking I'd be able to build an arena anytime soon, but I thought it might be kind of a long-term goal, couple-year goal or something like that. Well, the guy was like, basically, if I was willing to keep trying to do events, they were ready to hand the whole thing over to me.
How big is an arena?
Well, you can see the people that are there. So it's about 12 feet octagon. And then the sides are, and it's on an elevated thing, it's like this tall. Yeah, so they were basically ready to get rid of it. If someone would try to keep doing the Bots IQ events into the future, or try to keep continuing with it, because these guys were getting old. They're kind of ready to get done with it. So I was like, okay, fine. So I decided to take it over. So I'm now the new president of Bots IQ, and I do have an industry partner in NEW Industries. He's the main FANUC robot guy over there. His name is Nathan Corbeil. And so he's also on my board of directors. And it's a 501c3. It's all registered. And they gave me not only that Octagon, which is at home in a trailer at my house. I got the Octagon. I have all the money that they had left over, like $5,000. We transferred that to an account here in town. And we're ready to start over. We're going to try to start having competitions, and I have an event scheduled here, May 2nd. So we're going from Waukesha to Institute with Bots IQ.
Where will you set that up?
What's that?
Where will you set that up?
Probably in the elementary gym is where we're planning on doing it. But we'll have to find something to protect the floor. I think there is a big canvas thing.
Lisa, we were hoping your backyard.
You can, yeah, you can get those covered. I always thought we should get those covers for the floor. You can get them, they're expensive. It
We
might,
definitely
it might
are
cost you
not
your
gonna
whole
damage
$5,000.
We won't damage the floor. I would
Probably
definitely
just
make
use
sure
an old
we'll do
wrestling,
that.
one of the wrestling mats, probably.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Wrestling
An
match.
old wrestling mat?
Are you still around?
Sure.
That's a problem for another day. That's gonna be down the road.
So you're aware of the
Yeah, yeah.
floor?
Yeah. So that's basically what's going on with all that. So now, so we're gonna build from scratch again, planning to have a competition here. I don't know how many people we're gonna get for this first competition. I honestly don't expect a lot of outside participation, being where we're at and being the first year, and I haven't really hardly said anything about it yet to anybody. But if we got 2 or 3 outside teams, I think that would be a success. And I think we can have 4 Sevastopol teams. I have enough electronics and stuff for 4 of our teams. So we should do good at the competition. So, let's see. Yeah, so it's open to all schools, youth groups. And I'll be trying to hit up some of the Cub Scouts and stuff like that. Once I get the website completely done. It's almost done. Not completely done yet. So any questions?
So you had to do your own website too, then?
Yeah, well, they had a website, well, they had it on this other host that used WordPress, and I created a whole website, and then it kind of crashed on me, and I got frustrated, so I went to another web host that I'm more used to, and that's what it's on now. But they're, I'm getting to get reimbursed for all that. I paid for it up front, but I'll get reimbursed as soon as the stupid check clears.
What kind of program does NWTC have? Is it a pretty active program or
For,
the robotics?
so you mean in Green Bay?
Oh, that's where you're not.
This was Waukesha in Waukesha, the Waukesha Technical College. Have you ever been there?
Nothing
It's
here.
massive. It wasn't here.
Oh, okay.
As a matter of fact, the NWTC, I know when we all went through for mechanical design, they were participating in a robotic challenge. They had to build a hovercraft and then compete in some kind of thing, and they went to MSOE, I think, for that.
Oh,
But I'm sure we could probably get some tech schools interested too, because they actually have more money than high schools have.
That was real proactive, thank you.
You're welcome.
So how many students you have in, this whole robotic program?
Well, it kind of varies from year to year, and the combat robots, we've never really had teams yet, but I have between 2 and 6 kids interested right now. Daniel was even interested a little bit. So, like I said, website first, started advertising it, and this won't be until May 2nd. So, and we're in good shape. I know a lot more about building these things this year than I did 2 years ago. Way more. So it's gonna be a lot easier this time. So, any other questions?
No?
Thank you, Dave.
All right, you're welcome.
Thank you.
Yep.
We'll move to administrator reports. We have Mr. Hiltz here tonight. Do you have anything you want to highlight?
Yes, just a few highlights. So the spring forward scores have come out and they're shared on the DPI's public website. So it gave me an opportunity to take a look and see how we have fared compared to not just districts in our county, but outside of the county as well. And so those are in your report, and we are up toward the top, which is really impressive when you take a look at some of the districts that are included on that list. It also prompted me to do something else, which is to take a look at our economically disadvantaged students and how they're scoring when compared to the state's non-economically disadvantaged kids. And for the last 3 years, both in math and in ELA, our kids have outscored the non-disadvantaged kids across the state. So real impressive, and a big kudos to our teaching staff for setting the bar high and making sure that our kids, all of our kids, are meeting it, and for the kids to meet that challenge.
Let me get that straight. Our disadvantaged kids outscore the average of the statewide of the non-disadvantaged kids.
Correct.
Could you send me a statement on that? Because I'm still trying to get the Department of Education secretary to come here, because Sevastopol would be a great school for her to see as far as best practices. Rural school best practices.
Don't disagree. And then along that line, there are a number of different organizations that rank schools, and schooldigger.com is one that does. I was super excited that it put us not just in the top 10th, it actually put us number 10 out of all the elementary schools across the state. So that's the top 1%. And that includes some magnet schools and schools in non-economically disadvantaged areas where their population is like single digits. So again, for us to be ranked that high
So
is
how many
just
schools
incredible.
is that in that list?
1,044.
And you're number 10?
Correct.
Excellent.
Well done.
Kudos to the teachers. They're
That's
doing
more
a
than
great job.
1%. That's 1/2 of us.
We're in the top.
Okay.
Well, congratulations to your
Congratulations.
staff.
Kudos.
Anything else?
That's it.
How do you top that?
We have the other administrative reports and the gifted and talented report in our packet, so if you had questions on those, you could have directed them. Superintendent?
Just an opportunity to update, I shared with you in the weekly memo, but we continue to keep a watch on what's happening at the federal level, and really the impact for Sevastopol at the end of October could impact our food service program, which, just so everybody knows, we get about $115,000 a year from the federal government to backfill our food services program. And the other component is Medicaid, which we get about between $80,000 and $90,000. That varies depending on the individual students that we have. So we know that we're good through the month of October at this point in time, but we do have it on our radar and paying close attention to how that could impact us. And other than that, we're continuing to do a campaign for United Way as staff, and so every third Wednesday is Jeans Day, where our staff are able to donate $2 or what they feel, and then are able to wear jeans. So that's the reason we're in jeans. And so far, as a staff, we have contributed over $3,000 to United Way's fall campaign. So.
School board member report. Daniel? Do you have anything you'd like to share with us?
Not this time.
Not at this time? Okay. I don't have anything. Building and grounds met one day last week. We have that one topic we're going to bring forward
Right.
later. I don't think we had anything else to
No,
report.
just some long-range plans, like locker room updates. I think we're in the stage, surveying the students for upgrading the locker rooms, whether or not they would utilize that sort of thing. So, yeah, it was mainly the cell phone tower.
Okay. Anything on facilities?
We continue to move forward. We have an installation date on our HVAC for our 90s section, which is over Christmas break. And so that will complete that, and we'll have the air conditioning piece. We still have issues on their in the fifth grade area when we have these fall hot days with the temperature control. We continue to monitor and try to figure out what that is. We have done some upgrades. We added Wi-Fi service out to our red shed so that we're able to create some efficiencies for our bus driver transportation so that they can log in and out electronically with timekeeper rather than doing the paper pencil piece. And we're looking at what it would take to put a camera over on the other side by our athletic fields, because we currently don't have video pieces over there. So looking at those components to see what the cost is and whether or not we can navigate in the budget. And it'll come back to buildings and grounds once we have an idea of what that's going to be. Our biggest dilemma over on the other side, correct me if I'm wrong, Stephen, is that we don't have fiber internet over there, correct? We do
Up there,
too.
we
Yeah.
do, we just have limited switch ports in the press box. So that, and since the cameras need to be hardwired, that means we have limited angles and limited sockets, basically.
So do you get any advantage, because they're coming up Bayshore Drive, so they're at my door, they're coming on Friday to put high speed in our house. So do you get any additional advantage with what they're doing in the town?
Nope.
We have our own. Yeah,
But we did get our phone lines fixed.
Yes.
So, Stephen, can I put you on the spot?
Sure. We moved, FCC wants copper lines, they call them POTS lines, Plano telephone system lines, gone by 2027. AT&T's trying to move that forward. It's 27, 28. Either way, they want to do it a year faster. So we've moved our phone lines to a digital solution, so our call quality has gone up quite a bit. We no longer hear echoes when it's raining, because copper wires love to sound terrible when it's when there's precipitation outside. We did have one minor hang up with the install, which I believe we're going to try and remedy by the time summer comes along, but we had like about a day where we didn't have, nobody could call into the district, but thankfully we have that fixed.
So,
Just a shout out to the work that Stephen did, because it was an adventure.
It was.
so all of us in town we're getting through AT&T.
Yep.
Does your high speed come through AT&T?
No, we're on the dark fiber through Wisnet.
Yeah, we have our own designated fiber.
Yep.
We installed that about how many years ago?
Here, okay.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah. I think it was
I just didn't know if what's going on across the town is going to affect it.
we're way ahead of that.
No, truthfully, honestly, the bulk of our phone issues actually started when they started doing the AT&T fiber work around here.
Well, that's happy, good to know.
Yeah.
Okay, well, thank you. The Sevastopol School District Elementary Profile.
So starting last month, we introduced the district profile sheet. In your packet, you have the elementary version of that. We modeled it after, so it looks very similar. Has some additional details specific to the elementary school. There will be some things that will be updated as we get the information. For example, the report's card score that's on there is from last fall. That comes out next month, and so we'll update that. The Best Schools U.S. News and World Report, for example, in the middle of the page, that was from last fall as well, and I anticipate that one going up because it mirrors a lot what that school digger score ends up being. So we'll update this as we get information that needs to be, but this is kind of the layout, as I said before, which mirrors the district profile.
It's real attractive.
It is.
Do we mail this out to the community?
I don't know that
It'll
they're
be places
mailing
like the website, it'll be in newspaper, you know, some of that kind of stuff, so it'll be readily available.
Hmm.
But in the newspaper, like in the Pioneer Times?
Could be, yeah.
So it would go to every door, every household in the district.
Okay. I mean, I think you should go to the highest mountain and shop this all the time.
Well, and like for corporate recruiting, you know, I know at the hospital, I was one of them that, you know, like you wanna like for executives and kind of higher level people, they, you know, they can move anywhere, and so they choose based on the schools. And so
Mhm.
this would be a huge, you know, kind of recruiting thing for different corporations and the one hospital.
Do we still have that, we used to have a folder that things would go in and you'd hand it to new students?
We still do hand those out as prospective students come in for tours and those kind of things. It would definitely go in there. once we get this.
Well, but it might not be bad to create some of those and get them in the hands of some of the bigger employees, the employers
HR
of the
Sure.
counties. Like the hospital, like I think it's TTX and Thermatron.
Whole industrial park, yeah. Let me put you on the spot. Is there an unwritten code of ethics amongst the superintendents that we do not overshout each other?
Well, we don't try to compete with each other, absolutely.
But
But
on
showcasing,
successes, showcasing?
showcasing our successes, I don't consider competing. I think it's showcasing what we currently do. And all this information, every district kind of has their own platform in which they use to communicate their positive pieces. And that's where everybody looks at our website, and it's one of the components that we want to add to the website is to have the different profiles. But I also think it's an opportunity now as a Rotary member that I'll be able to share, what's happening in Sevastopol and kind of using that as a platform which has your local community businesses there and continuing to reach out. And so, yeah, we work together, but we also want to showcase the great things that we're doing. So, yes, unwritten rule, we're not going to get competitive.
We're not gonna put up a
but
billboard, but
I don't know why not.
We're going to showcase the great things we do.
good, thank you.
Excellent.
Then we have for approval tonight the 2025-26 elementary student handbook.
And just as a reminder, the big change was just to make the description match the middle school and high school with the electronic devices.
I make a motion to approve the 2026 elementary student handbook as proposed.
Second.
There's a second, any comments, questions? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried. I'll let Randy go on the 911 tower.
Thank you. So, per the last meeting, the board gave the directive to take a look and have a conversation with legal and ask what legal recommendation was on the land that they're looking to secure for the 911 tower. Legal recommendation is that we sell that parcel of land. So Buildings and Grounds Committee met, had that conversation, and made the decision to place on the annual meeting pending board approval tonight. We don't need approval, just information that on the annual meeting, they need to take action that we have the ability to sell property of the district. And so on the annual meeting on next Wednesday, we'll have the standard statement that just says sale of district property. Not identifying where, just that we have the potential to do that. And then we'll come back as a board and make the determination about the sale, whether or not you want to do that. So we'll do that in the follow-up meeting on October 22nd, and then we'll seek a proposal from the county as to what that looks like. That'll come back to legal to review that proposal, and then goal is to take action in November.
So this was informational tonight. Okay. We have the 25-26 preliminary budget. Okay,
Thank you for coming.
Have a good night.
Thank you for your checkbook.
I'll work on it.
Okay. So we have the preliminary budget in your packet, and the information has gone and been published to the Peninsula Pulse. It was published last Friday and will be published again on Friday in accordance with statute. We have a balanced budget to present to you this year in our general fund, which means that our revenues match our expenditures. In doing that, we are able to include a budgeted transfer of funds from Fund 10 to our Fund 46 for future capital needs. So that's excellent that we're moving in the right direction there. Our general fund revenues increased about $2 million. Most of that is the tax shift. Now that we are in the new year, the first year of our new referendum, we shifted those tax funds from debt service over to our operational side. And so we're able to move forward with a $2 million increase there. We have a decrease in federal funding of about $150,000. That's more of a return to normal. We had an increase last year with our small rural schools grant, and so we're kind of returning to normal there. Our general fund expenditures are budgeted to increase about $2 million. You can see I've listed some of what makes up that $2 million change. We've talked about our increase in salaries and benefits, but we also are spending quite a bit on some maintenance items or some safety items that we needed to take care of. So we have the air handlers and HVAC, we have some venting for the wood shop and our art area. We had to replace a section of the roof, we had some acoustic work in the high school gym. A lot of these have already happened this year, so they're the big pieces of our budget for 25-26. Our debt services expenditures are expected to be our debt service expenditures are expected to be higher than what we budgeted, so we're gonna reduce, or higher than our revenue in that fund, sorry. So we're gonna reduce the fund balance. That's the defeasance that we've already done in October. So that was the final year of our defeasance, and then going forward, we'll return to really much more normal payments that are scheduled with our principal and interest payments. Our proposed property tax levy is a little bit different than what has been published, and by a little bit different, I mean by about $5,300. So today was the day that the state publishes the final revenue limit worksheets, and we finally get our information. So there was a little bit of an adjustment in there, and so our levy will actually be $12,146,936 as opposed to the $12,140,852 that is shown in your packet. So that's just a small adjustment, a small estimate change. We are still looking at a mill rate of $3.95 per thousand, which is incredibly low for any school district in the state. And our annual meeting and the entire budget and all of the information will be presented at next week's annual meeting. There's really not a ton of change from the preliminary budget you guys saw in August, when we went into a lot of the detail on revenues and expenditures and line items. So not a lot of change since that has occurred. So, do you have any questions on the budget?
So this, we don't need to approve this being preliminary, this is
Nope, you don't have to
informational.
take any action, this is just informational tonight.
Okay, well, that was good information,
All
thank
right.
you.
Yeah, I think, the mill rate is just significantly, I mean, I realize that our property values went significantly up, but we're probably in the bottom 10 school districts in the state.
Probably, we're probably pretty close to that. I don't know exactly where we fall, but we can find that out once our analytics are released.
Yeah.
Do you have easy access to what's Gibraltar, Sturgeon Bay,
Mhm.
Southern Door?
Yeah.
Yeah, we are significantly lower than Sturgeon Bay. They are probably gonna be around $7 to $8 usually.
Wow.
Gibraltar will be lower than us. They're, you may be under $2 this year, I don't
Sure.
know. Yeah. In putting this budget together, one thing we were very aware of is what we talked to our taxpayers last year about, and when we went out for referendum, what we said we were going to do, and the mill rate that we said we would have, and the tax levy we said we would have, we are well under that tax levy and well under that mill rate.
Very good. Well
Good
done.
job.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yep.
We have the Start College Now and Early College Credit apps for 25-26.
We do, and we have Mrs. Markgraf, Mrs. Melkor.
So on that sheet, it just has all the students who have requested. I think everything pretty much is things that we don't offer, so it's something that would traditionally be approved because that's kind of how the state sets it. The only one is the very last student down there, I believe it's student I. would hit the 18 credits. So I always encourage them to put more courses on in case, so they have flexibility depending on what actually runs at the college in the spring. They have some flexibility in what they can pick to take. So I would suggest for that one, we just officially approve, I think it's 6 credits, but then they can kind of choose what those 2 courses are, so.
So has this student already met the graduation requirements? I mean, that's a lot of credit. I mean, that's a big load to take.
I do not believe any of our seniors have met the graduation requirements yet. Several will be there by semester, but
16 extra credits.
although, I mean, it is not uncommon for many of our seniors to graduate with that many one way or another through AP or college or whatever it might be. So it just depends what path you take to get the credit.
Is there a motion?
I can make a motion
There's a motion to approve the Start College Now and Early College credit apps. Is there a second?
Second.
Questions or discussion?
Just to let you know, this is an area, I was at a NWTC's budget meeting today. This is the area where the tech schools and the four-year schools are gonna go to war over, so you're gonna benefit from it.
Good, I will take that.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Then we'll have an update from Mrs. Melchor on the academic career plan.
So you have our overall plan. This is what we've been doing for several years. You have middle school, which is 6th and 8th grade is taught by me in guidance classes. The 7th grade is taught by Tara LeClaire in her class. So kind of prepping them to do career exploration. In 6th grade, we start very general, even though they might know they want to be a vet. Maybe they don't know lots of other things that could be related, so we try and start more general and then get more specific over time. More research, looking at kind of requirements, what would that actually mean to do that job. In 8th grade, we talk more, I like to do a variety of different ways to research or learn about different careers that might fit for them, and then we talk a lot about high school and that transition and planning for what should that 4 years look like and how do you get ready for your next steps, even starting to plan in 6th grade. So in 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th grade, we put together the activities. We use a structure very similar to what was suggested by CESA 7. So through the state, this is kind of what many schools are using. So students have activities that are run by their teachers during resource time that we set up for them. So I'm definitely happy to answer any questions you have about that. And I apologize because it's going to be very hard to see tonight, but I thought I would show you the 2 programs that we mainly use to do a lot of this exploration, at least as a start. I always tell students, you know, there's a lot of other places to look, but here's a good place where it's one area they can start with their information.
Melissa, have we heard if the state is continuing with their current platform, or?
I have not. I know the Wisconsin School Counselor Conference is coming up in about 3 weeks, and I'm guessing we'll get more information there. I know they have gone out to bid for, Zello is the main program that the state purchases for all schools to use, so we use that program. This is what it looks like. I don't know if that will change for next year or a year or two, but for now we go with what they offer us. So it looks different for every grade level. It's set up similarly though, where students can log in. The part that we really walk them through is on the right-hand side here. Every grade level has 4 lessons that they go through that helps them based on what they should be learning at that level. For example, this grade level has study skills, so while there is definitely career aspects, they have some other just life skills. So I will show you kind of a little example. So this lesson is for 9th grade. It's about getting experience in high school, so they're kind of building their resume. and what that looks a little bit like. So it kind of walks them through what they need to get started in the lesson and what they're going to learn. And then they do a real nice job, I think, of making it interactive. So they have to, read the prompt and then kind of decide how they're gonna, what the answers might be. Or sometimes if they're pulling in the careers that they've actually said that they like, and they're researching more on those careers as part of these lessons. So it's very interactive. I think they do a very good job in helping us push out lessons to students that make sense at their age level, but also are appropriate in helping them continue that transition pathway through middle and high school. The other pieces on here, so all of these are actually some of the surveys that they can take. So they always start with an interest profiler, just like, do you like working with children? Do you like animals? That kind of thing. That's great when you're in middle school. I think high schoolers are looking for something more than that because we need to go a little bit deeper, but we always start with the matchmaker. They have a personality style that actually goes into Holiday codes, which is more about actually your work environment than your personality, but what kind of work environments would you like? Mission Complete just kind of adds a couple more interest questions. They do a learning style survey and they do a lab survey. So that kind of helps students narrow down some results. So what it looks like after is they can see any career matches for themselves based on all the tests that they've taken so far. And it will tell them how good of a match it is for their personality. Sometimes students get frustrated because their favorite job is not their match. We'll go in and actually, I talk a lot to students about that because it will actually tell them when they go on a career why it is or is not a good match for them. So I always think that's nice for students to kind of understand, well, you said you didn't like these 4 things, but those are actually the 4 main things you might do in that job. So it's good for them to start seeing those things early. This is also a great program for students can just basic introduction to careers, colleges, majors, pathways. So just in general, let's see, it gives them a lot of information about what that job description is. I love that it gives related careers because, again, students know what they're exposed to, but there's a lot of things they don't know a lot about that might be related, that could be an interest, so that is helpful. It goes through core tasks and what it would look like in the actual workplace, things they would do. It relates it to their personality. What personality do you have versus what does the job look for? And that's, again, that work environment. Working conditions, how much you can earn. You can change it by state because that's helpful for students who maybe are looking other places. Sample career paths. So if you start here, where could you possibly end up? And then at the bottom, it will give them any majors related to that. So when I pick a major, it will give me more information about what that might look like studying in college. So I think that's a nice progression for students. And then it actually, again, students can pick which state they are looking at, and all the colleges that offer that major are listed on this website. So it's, again, a good starting place for students to start gathering information. And then from here, they can actually learn a lot more about the college. Now, this isn't perfect. It's as good as the college enters the information. I always tell students college's actual web pages will give them the most up-to-date information, but it does give them good information about cost, acceptance, deadlines, what they offer for majors at the school, a little bit more about the students. One part that I like, it doesn't work for every college, but students can actually put in, Marquette doesn't have it. They can actually put in their ACT score, and it will tell them how likely it is that they might get accepted based on what other students who have gotten accepted there have had for ACT and GPA. So again, it's a nice starting place for them to see if they're on track for being ready for that school. So this is we use this a lot in school. All of our students have access. It's linked on our website. They all use it every single year, so they're very used to it.
I would say it builds with them too, right?
Yes.
So you started in middle school or you started in high school?
We started in middle school.
And
We
started
start
in-
mainly in 7th grade with them with this program, but the lessons and the activities change by year based on what they, high schooler seniors are talking about transitioning next and other, career demand and other things that wouldn't be the same as 7th graders. So
And it also allows then this individual to look back reflectively. So as a senior,
Mhm.
I can go back and look at my 7th grade data that I put in about myself and see the transitions that I've made
Yeah.
and maybe the growth that I've had. And I'm gonna put Daniel on the spot. Is this a tool that you've used and how has it helped you?
Yeah, absolutely. I'll be honest, at first, I didn't really like it, because it got complicated, but the more I looked into it, like Ms. Malcolm said, we get used to it. We start like at an earlier age, so we have more time to get used to it. So by the time I got to high school, I got to look at everything I wanted, and it helped me out a lot, because not only did it help me see like colleges, careers, and all sorts of things, but it also made me plans for like my future schedules, which was kind of overwhelming my first year. I didn't know what I wanted, but it kind of helped me build a schedule based on classes here that were related to what I wanted to do. So that's something that I found really useful for that. But other than that, I still use it a lot, and it's a great tool.
Thank you. Just a question, is there, I saw a lot of like business and corporate and blah, 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 is like, what about trades and like
Yes.
active duty military service?
yes, so that's actually just my results honestly on
Okay.
here. So that's why you're seeing that stuff. But the military is harder. Unfortunately, sites are not as good about the military. I wish they were. They always keep only very general information about jobs, which isn't. I have some other resources I share with students for if they're interested in that pathway. But yes, lots of trades information. Really, the whole gamut. I think there's 3,500 careers on here. So, yeah.
When I go back to class reunions, hardly anybody is doing what they said they wanted to do when they're in high school. And very few, even in college, are doing anything related to the major that they were in. And I even go to my wife, as an example, who was certain she wanted to be a policeman, went to the local junior college in the town she grew up in. And when I met her and married her, she was a nurse. So I really look at some of this stuff very skeptically, especially with all the technology coming down, which is going to put a lot of these occupations out of, college-educated occupations out of business. So help me be a real fan of this.
Well, I think the biggest part is help them take the first step. We talk all the time about very few people's career path in life is straight. We talk a lot about it looks like this for most people, and that's okay. How do you take the first step? We're a small school, even a big school, they can't expose kids to everything. But we can expose them to some things, we can help them start the right thing, kind of make a general, what do you want? Do you want to start in a trade? Do you want a tech school or a 4-year? How do we help you decide which of those might be the best path? But, it's just, I always tell students, it doesn't matter what the path is as long as you know you're going to be happy and you're going to be able to take care of your family,
I guess my only response to that is, because I'm as old as mud, but when I had to make that decision, my family was at risk of $400 a semester, not $20,000 a semester or whatever it is.
Mhm.
And so today it's a lot different. And I'm always personally, I say to kids, go to tech school or something like that and try for 2 years and see what you really like. And then you can always go.
I think if they make that decision, early enough, I'm just speaking from experience I have with my grandsons who graduated and were going into engineering. Well, why? Because the machine told them to. But by their second year, they knew, I want to go to chiropractic school, I want to be a veterinarian, and I want to be a cat operator, or whatever they are, I don't know. So if they make that decision early enough, but the one, for instance, could have been done in 3.5 semesters, but because he switched and needed all those science classes, he's got to stay and pay for another semester.
Sure.
So I don't know how you get away from that, them changing their mind in their
And
second or third,
It's a process.
second or third
It
year.
is, and it's so hard to say, well, you're 18, figure out the rest of your life. Like, I feel like that's not fair, but it's unfortunately just where we're at as a society.
I think that provides a good resource for kids. I mean, people that change careers, I mean,
How much do they how much focus is on what it's gonna cost you to get that education, and how much you can earn, and how valuable is that degree? I mean, you wanna live in Door County, Wisconsin, well, how many jobs are there for someone with a zoology degree in Door County, Wisconsin?
We definitely talk about that. I started talking about that in 8th grade already. You have to think about the pros and cons, and can you live with the cons of that career? And yeah, you're right, absolutely. Do you want to live in a big city? That's actually a whole thing we go through, is all of those pieces of careers. What do you want in life? Do you want to live in the city or the country, or where do you want to go to college? Do you want a big area? Do you want to work outside? You know, you can't tell me you want to be an accountant, but you really want to work outside. So we have a lot of those kinds of conversations. I don't know if they're always ready to hear it in 8th grade, but that's when I see them, that's when I have the most access to them. It's a lot harder to get access in high school, unfortunately. But part of this is actually, this discussion is why we actually also purchased as a school district a program called U-Science. Instead of just interest inventories, that doesn't always give a lot of information. This is actually the only, I believe, aptitude-based career program. So it's pretty neat. There are 9 aptitude tests that are kind of set up like games for them. They are between 3 and 12 minutes each, where they do different little activities. So things like numerical reasoning, idea generation, work approach, they go through lots of different areas, and then based on what skills you have, it gives you some suggestions. And how this has been, I think, helpful for a lot of students. Well, number one, it gives them a 31-page overview of their aptitudes based on what they answered and what they could go into. I think that's a lot of information for a high school student to go through, but we kind of try and walk through the main pieces. But it's a start. What I have found is a lot of students do get results that they might be really good at, but they're not always excited about. So, but I would be really interested to see, does that end up to be something they actually do go down that path? But what I would like to show you with this, so this again shows an overall fit for careers. This again is my own, but so besides kind of going through some of that same general stuff that Zello does, it also takes students through, okay, what are the aptitudes that this career needs, and what are your aptitudes? How do those two things fit together? Do you have the right kind of skills that they might be looking for? And then they also go into that overall interest part. Okay, based on what you're interested in, how does this fit with the actual interest that would fit in this career? So I think it's been very good to give students a different way, because they can kind of manipulate some of these assessments, because they can pick all the things they really like, even if that's not maybe a career path that would be helpful. This looks at it in a very different way and tries to give them different kinds of ideas based on the skills that they actually are showing that they have. So the tests take, I want to say, 60 or 70 minutes. We kind of break them up, but we do try to give them another way to see some possible options.
I just have, from the military background, does everyone take an ASVAB, or just like certain people that are looking at? Because I mean, that's essentially what that is.
It's very similar. We have done some of both. It just kind of depends on the year and the interest. We have done the whole thing with them before, though, because it does give them a very good overview. And then if they are interested, they are set to go with that test score. So,
Does anything success largely has to do with grit, you know? So is there any of those assessments or anything, you know, because you could want to be an underwater basket weaver, but, you know, like, again, I know medicine, so I don't need the smartest person in the room, I need the one with the most grit and the one that will work the hardest and, you know, put their nose to the grind and just like continue. And I think a lot of career fields, it has more to do with grit and perseverance than really any aptitude or IQ. So are they looking towards that?
Our very first program that the state had bought into, it was called WIS Careers. They did much more of that. I have seen places go away from that, and I think I agree, we need to have a much broader array of assessments for students, because a profiler is not enough, but there just is not a lot out there anymore.
Are there any correlation studies that done 5 and 10 years later, based upon what the tool said you would like to go into, and what they really landed 5 years from now and 10 years from now?
That's a great question, I'm not sure.
Because that's where as a scientist, that's where you find out if your hypothesis that you worked on 10 years ago and now has been implemented, is it really working?
We always talked about trying to survey our students,
Or, yeah, the graduates or
the
postgraduates.
graduates.
The hardest part is trying to get access to how to contact them.
At the reunions.
There's also something called, and I don't think we purchased into it, but it's called National Clearinghouse. I don't know how accurate that is, but some schools use that. But it would only include people who I think have gone on, and that's definitely not our whole population, so that's not the whole picture, so.
For National Clearinghouse for,
It gives data on what students have continued to do after high school, but I think it's only if you're connected with a higher education institution, so I don't, and we have lots of students doing other things, so.
I suspect they would follow your social security number and find out where you're, no one hides today, you know.
okay, any other questions for Mrs. Mark?
Thank you.
Malcolm?
Thank you.
Thank you. That was interesting.
It was interesting.
You need to approve the academic career planning plan.
I make a motion to approve the academic career plan.
Second.
Questions or discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Did you have anything on the legislative side you wanted to share with us, Randy? The 25-26 student count?
Yes, the student count data is in your packet. We are down a little bit from last year. Our overall head count last year was, I believe, it ended at 604, so now we are lifting at about 597. Down a little bit, and our adjusted head count is down from about 530 to 523. So that brings down what we can do tax-wise and that kind of thing. That's where this impacts.
And just clarify, for those that are new, the adjusted account is that you don't get a 1.0 for your 4K students, we get a 0.6 for our 4K students.
So
Correct?
that's not even the adjusted head count on here, sorry.
Oh, okay.
Our adjusted head count falls at about 511. That would be with our 4K students being at 0.6. The adjusted head count is when we're looking at not the kids in seats, but you have to take out the open enrolled students and add in the open enrolled out students. And so you're taxing based on the students who reside here.
Where do we stand on our imports and exports?
We have 156 students who are open enrolled into the district and 83 students who are open enrolled out of the district. So we are definitely heavy open enrolled in. That's down a little bit from last year, but it's down on both sides of the scale. So.
Which would go down as a whole population.
So same percent basically.
Same percentage essentially.
Yeah. That's good.
Is there a motion to approve the
So moved.
account.
Second.
There's a motion and a second to approve the 25-26 student account. Questions or discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Then we are looking to approve Matt Hendrickson as the girls varsity assistant coach and the head junior varsity coach.
I'd make a motion to approve Matt Hendrickson as the varsity girls basketball assistant and JV head coach.
I'll second.
Questions or discussion? Daniel, you wanted to speak?
Oh, yeah. Well, I wanted to say that I've had Matt as a coach before, and as a perspective of a player, I believe that he'll do great as a coach. Therefore, yeah, consider him. Thank you for that.
Any other questions or discussion? Otherwise, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Then we would look to approve Brooke Tank as the girls' 7th grade basketball coach.
Move to approve the hiring of, appointment of Brooke Tank as the head 7th grade girls basketball coach.
Second.
Questions or discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. We have the annual meeting next week, 6:30. Then right after the annual meeting, we'll have a special board meeting to take care of whatever business we need to out of the annual meeting. And then our next regular meeting is November 19th. With that, I take a motion to adjourn.
I make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried at 6:56 PM.